year. So they have a lot to work on, and the schedule, Jim, is just going to get brutal here over the next 2 weeks or so. So they got their work cut out for them, no doubt.
Yeah, I have a question about the Spurs game. Let's first start, John, tell us about your deal with The Athletic.
That's right. So if you go to theathletic.com/JonPod, JONPOD, you get 40% off a year's subscription. And that is comes out to about $2.99 a month for all of our content, not just Timberwolves. You get Vikings, Wild, Twins, Gophers locally. You get Warriors, Cavaliers. You get every NBA team nationally. If you're subscribed to The Athletic, you would have gotten just an exhaustive breakdown coming out of the Lakers-Rockets game over the weekend from Sam Amick and really our cast of about 5 or 6 writers we had at the Rockets-Lakers game that really looked deep into the Chris Paul-Rajon Rondo fight. Sam obtained some exclusive video that showed Rajon Rondo spitting at Chris Paul and really kind of inciting this little mini riot that happened. It was a great oral history of exactly how things went down. And so, you get all sorts of national writers. You get Ken Rosenthal and Peter Gammons on Jason Stark on baseball. You got great NFL coverage as well, and the best hockey coverage in the whole country. And so if you go to athletic.com/JonPod, JONPOD, all lowercase, for all the best local and national coverage you can find. And 40% off, $2.99 a month will get you in and get you everything we have, over 700 articles a week. So come on by and give that a shot.
I've been of the opinion that the offense should run through Karl-Anthony Towns for both for short-term gain and for long-term gain for this franchise. Am I oversimplifying it? Is maybe Towns not doing something he should be doing to have the offense run through him, or is that not such a good idea?
Well, some of the frustration with Towns has been that maybe he doesn't get position early enough in the offense. Maybe he allows himself to get pushed around a little bit by more physical defenders. And so it makes it harder for the Jeff Teagues of the world and even for the Jimmy Butlers to find him in good scoring spots. And so there is a criticism there, I think, that can be leveled at Towns. I think that was apparent even more in the playoffs than it has been early here in the season. And so there is that frustration with, okay, let's see him really work hard to get that. At the same time, he is so gifted offensively, and you look at what he can do from a passing standpoint, three-point shooting, low post scoring, even the mid-range game. He can handle the ball. He can do all of it. So maybe, does he have to be like the center of your basketball universe from an offensive standpoint? Maybe not, but I do think that they need to find a way to get him more involved at a higher rate than what he has been really for 3 years. He's just so gifted that way. And so when he's playing right now in an offense that really is centered around Jimmy Butler, Britt Robson is going to write about this at The Athletic today on Monday about this kind of phenomenon, is when right now they are still running this offense that is totally Jimmy Butler centric. And the problem with that is Jimmy Butler is not going to be here for very much longer, whether it's a week, a month, or 2 months. If he's still here by, after February, something went horribly, horribly wrong. And so that means that probably the wise thing to do is to pivot toward Towns, toward Wiggins a little bit more, and get yourself ready for life after Jimmy Butler and what all that means and how you be successful without him. And if you can't, that's a real problem. And so right now they are still kind of running the exact same offense they have been throughout really the last year under incredibly different circumstances. And that's, to me, the danger in kind of carrying forward just like this. Now, whether you think Towns can ever be what Jimmy Butler is for this team, I don't know. But the reality of the situation is that he's going to have to be. And so for this team to survive this ugly transition that we're going through, they're going to have to make some moves like that. And they're going to have to pivot and do that instead of looking to maximize whatever they can get right now in terms of wins, they gotta look for the future here, and the future is Karl Anthony Towns.
Absolutely. Let's do some Twitter questions. I have a couple more follow-up questions as well for Jon Krawczynski. Again, we're sponsored by SodaStick, sodastick.com. You can find all of their new releases, their special runs that they do. They do beer fridge stickers, Duck youth size T-shirts, Skull youth size. They just did a cool run of John Randall stuff, and I've seen that all over Twitter. People wearing the John Randall stuff, sometimes walking up to John Randall wearing the John Randall stuff. This is fun. They put out Minnesota Hockey Trucker and vintage hats. They have a local Hockey Man T-shirt. It's all very clever. It's very well done. It's all very, very topical. They will respond to whatever is in the news, given Minnesota sports. I really think the John Randall lightweight hoodie is kind of up my alley. And if you use the promo code YouBetcha, you will get free shipping on any size order. YouBetcha gets you free shipping on any size order. So if you just want one T-shirt or one hoodie, you can order. You get it a very reasonable price and with free shipping. It's a pretty good deal. Sodastick.com. Let's do Twitter questions. Let's see. I can't even tell if this is satire or real, but Aaron Brown asks, what are the odds any given male member of a pack can ascend to alpha? What advice do you have for young males looking to make a move?
Yeah, I saw that one a little bit earlier, and I have to admit, I'm hoping that it was a little bit of satire here. I don't have the percentages of alphas who have ascended and how they got there right in front of me, so I'd hate to make an error in reporting and throw out 18% of wolves make it to alpha status. I don't know that. What I would, I guess, advise of the Karl Anthony Townses and Andrew Wiggins of the world who are trying to get there is to understand that the world is changing around them and that this is going to be their team quicker than anyone believes. And so it's time to start just grabbing a hold of this thing and doing it the way that you want to do it. And that may sound a little bit kind of insubordinate or otherwise, but this is the only way that this is going to work for these pups as they try to be alphas, is if they kind of understand the importance of themselves to there, but also understand their limitations. And so they have to start working on what it is that has prevented the Wolves from being successful when they are on the court and Jimmy Butler isn't, and address those and really take a look in the mirror and say, hey, this has got to be our team going forward. And so it's time to take control here, and we're still waiting on them to do that.
That's what we do here. We take satire and we turn it into fact. Total fact. Absolutely. From Brett Winthizer, what are your thoughts on starting Okogie when Butler sat against Dallas? Did Tibbs not want to mess with the rest of the rotation, or just want some D in the starting lineup?
Yeah, I think it was all about defense there, Jim. I mean, he had been starting Derrick Rose for a good portion of the preseason without Jimmy Butler, and I think he realized that Jeff Teague and Derrick Rose together in the same backcourt just hemorrhage points. I mean, it's asking Derrick Rose too much if you're going to be in the starting lineup and playing 30-plus minutes to also guard their two guard. And it's just their whole defense is such a mess right now that they need stoppers as much as possible. And so whatever limitations Okogie brings from an offensive standpoint, you have to get some defense into that group because they have plenty of scoring. Even with Teague can be more assertive. You have Towns, you have Wiggins. Taj Gibson is fine offensively. And so you need some sort of perimeter defense there because they are just getting trashed from dribble penetration. And so I do like that move of putting him in the starting lineup. And then you keep Derrick Rose with the second unit. And obviously that worked from an offensive standpoint in Dallas. Rose scored 28 points. Now they still gave up a ton, 140 points to the Mavericks, but at least there seemed to be some sort of comfort in the rotations the way they were in sort of some of the position groupings. And really one of the reasons that they did struggle defensively is that Okogie was on the bench for a lot of it. Wiggins was in foul trouble. Okogie got into some foul trouble. And so they need that kind of energy and that kind of toughness on the perimeter. They just haven't had it anywhere else. And let's also be honest, Jim, when Jimmy Butler's been on the court so far too, they've been terrible defensively. So he's not this magic wand that they can wave and everything will be okay when he's there. I don't think he's going to play in a whole lot of back-to-backs here early in the season. They're going to have to figure out ways to do this without him on the roster for the short term and the long term.
Question from Nikolai. Gorgie Jang looks a lot better this year. What changed?
I think he's just we had a conversation in San Antonio, and he said, "Look, John, last year I was in my head too much. Like I was thinking too much about things. I know that Gorgie was very upset with the way it was handled in terms of him moving from the starting lineup to the backup or to the second unit when Taj Gibson was added. You know, he had been a starter on this team essentially for the previous 2 years. He's a very proud guy. He really thinks highly of himself. He's very confident in his abilities. And the way that it was handled with him kind of going to the bench and the lack of communication in that, I don't think it sat well with him. And I think that he allowed that part of it to trickle into his game and affect his game. So when he was playing last year in that second unit, he wasn't playing well enough to earn more minutes. And so Gorgie, said in San Antonio that I just have to put all of that out of my mind and just go out and play and not worry about it. And I think that what we have seen so far is for Gorgie, not like an acceptance of life in the NBA and of his role and not settling for it, but he certainly is not sort of, just in his head, kind of doing mental gymnastics and tying himself up in knots while he's playing. And so he does look to be playing a little more freely, a little more confidently, and just letting things come to him. And we have seen some good results from that.
Braden Riddlehoover asked your thoughts on Okogie's debut. Did you have any other thoughts other than what you already expressed?
Yeah, I think kind of what we expected in terms of energy, defense, tough-mindedness. Like that's all what we saw from Okogie in the preseason, all what we saw from him in the regular season, which is a good sign to see it transfer like that. He still does have a lot of work to do offensively. He's got a little bit of Shabazz Muhammad in his game in terms of like just go. And sometimes he gets himself into a corner that he can't get out of and makes a wild shot, an errant pass, something like that. That will all settle down, I think, with experience, with playing time, and just him getting into the flow and the rhythm of the game. But in terms of what he brought on the defensive end, I mean, he can only help a team with that. And I think that's a very good sign.
From Zach Spicer. Basically, Zach asked about the Kobe Bryant precedent. I think you covered that well enough. Good question. Jeremy asked, if Taylor were to fire Tibbs, and assuming Butler is gone, who would you like to see coach this team?
Yeah, Jim, I don't ever like to do that kind of speculation in, with when people have jobs that are sitting there and are in the seat. I know that everyone wants to get into the names and who would be a good fit and things like that. I just never have found that to be in very good taste. I think it's a lack of respect for the people who are in those positions right now. And even, if I were to throw out a name or two who have a job somewhere else, that of course would create sort of speculation and questions and things of that nature for them, which is never a good thing. So respectfully, I'm going to have to decline that and just say, if we ever get to that point, and I don't think we're close to that right now, but if we ever do get to that point, then I think I'll be happy to offer some candidates and do some reporting on some realistic guys and what they could bring, or women, and what they could bring to the table. But right now I don't feel comfortable doing that.
I do feel comfortable, and I'll throw out a couple ideas. I just think after all the dysfunction, after going out and spending a massive amount of money on Tom Thibodeau and having just explosions everywhere, and listen, he's brought in other big name coaches, and it hasn't worked out for one reason or another. It looked like it might work out with Rick Adelman, then it kind of fizzled. I could see Len going, just give me somebody I trust. Somebody who's good, but somebody I trust, and Ryan Saunders would be an easy hire. And the other, of course, intriguing one is as women begin to move more into the ranks of male coaching male teams, you do wonder if Cheryl Reeve would get a shot here, and if Glenn would offer it to her, and if she'd take it.
Yeah, I do think we are getting close in general in the NBA to someone getting that opportunity. I do think that Becky Hammon seems to be in the pole position for an opportunity